So now we'll go through the neutral cards. So first card we have is Wolfpack. Deploy damage an enemy by 2, reach 2. It's an average card, nothing special about it. You can maybe remove a 2 strength engine. Can maybe set up a removal for higher strength engine, but nothing special about him. Then we have Strays of Spala. Deploy, move a unit to another row on its side. Some movement there. It's good that you have a neutral movement now, so every faction can gain some movement. Reach 2. Okay. Crow's Eye. Trigger a bronze unit's Death Wish ability. Doesn't seem worth it for 4 provision cost, while monsters have like a lot of cards to trigger Death Wish already. And other archetypes are not that great with Death Wish anyway. Then we have Clear Skies. Clear all row effects from your side. Okay. Against weather, this doesn't seem worth running, I guess. Because if the opponent doesn't play weather, it's just a useless card. And if it does, you gain a bit more value. Then it's worth, I guess. It's not worth playing, I guess. I think it's not worth it. I don't know about it. Then we have Dimerithium Bomb. Destroy an artifact. It destroys an artifact, but every faction has one unit who destroys an artifact. I don't know why would you ever want to use this card. It only costs 4 though, so that's good. It's a fine addition, I guess, because a lot of people are running artifacts, so a bit more useful than Clear Skies. Then we have Peasant Militia. Deploy, boost an ally by 2. Good with Northern Realm boost deck, but outside of that, I don't see where you would ever want to use her. These peasants. Scout. Deploy, remove a row effect from an allied row. It's a 4 strength though. It's a bit better than Clear Skies in my opinion. It's way better than Clear Skies, but still probably not worth taking. I don't know. If you manage to clear the row, it's good, but if not, then it's a useless card. Then we have Mastercrafted Spear. Order, damage a unit by 1, cooldown 1. This card seems to be actually pretty good because it's an artifact. It costs 5. You would have to keep it around for 5 turns, but it has some synergy with Skellige decks, with damaging, so that's good. You can choose which unit to damage, so you can make some units weaker for removal, I guess. Then we have Flattery's Filter. Boost an ally by 3 and give it Zeal. This seems a good artifact because it gives Zeal, which means in Northern Realms this is probably a must-have. Outside of Northern Realms, maybe not that much. Then we have Wyvern Scale Shield. Order, boost a unit by 1, cooldown 1. It's an opposite to Spear, but I think Spear is better because damage is better than boosting, unless you're playing some boost synergy. Then we have Spores. Reset the unit's power. It just resets a unit, nothing special. Nothing special about this card. It could be good, but resetting doesn't seem to be that great. I don't know. Then we have boost a unit by 4 and remove its lock. It's fine for boosting, removing lock, maybe if you need to keep some engines alive and unlocked. This card is good. This card is good if you need to keep one engine alive. Outside of that, it's not that great. Then we have lock a unit and damage it by 3. This card could be really useful because lock seems to be really good in this new Gwent. And also damaging by 3, again, another good thing. I feel like D-Shackles is pretty good card. Lock seems to be worth 2, I guess. 2 provisions. Then we have Epidemic. Destroy the units with lowest power. It's like an old Epidemic, but it's a bit stronger here. Because most of the units are lower value. And most of the units are engines. So it's a bit more worth here. It's worth a bit more. Bomb Heaver. Deploy, destroy an enemy artifact. Destroy artifact seems to be also worth 2 value. But then, when you have a Heaver for 4 points plus 6 provision cost, why would you want to use D-Bomb unless you don't have any more space with provisions? It's only in that case. Outside of that, it doesn't seem to be worth it. The D-Bomb. Elder Bear, no ability, for 6 provision, this seems bad. I don't know. This card just seems bad. Then we have Rogue Barash. Damage an enemy by 4 and move it to another row. Damaging by 4 seems to be really good and it has some movement synergy. So it's an okay card. Boost a unit by 6. Synergy with boost, I guess. Not that great synergy though. And you can keep some engines alive, but most of the time you don't want to use boost by 6. Then we have also standard, damage a unit by 5. A good removal. You can remove most of the engines, so this card is always useful. Stammelford Tremors, damage all enemies by 1. This is only good if you're playing Skellige damaging archetype, I feel like. In that archetype the card is great, outside of that it's bad. Order, transform into short, only 1 value, so you can easily remove it. Not that great because of the easy removal. If you manage to buff it enough for like at least 4 value or 6, then this card for 6 provision cost is really great, but without buffing that card is just bad. Also, if you buff it, you lose most of the buffs from this card, so it's not that great of a card. Easy to counter it. Then we have Prince Willem. Spying, deploy, play a random gold card from your deck, so synergy with golds. It's an okay card. Feel like maybe it costs only 6 provisions, so for a gold card that's fine, that you get -2, so you would need to pull something like 8 powered unit from it for this card to be good. That's not that hard to do with golds and it's a deck thinning. It's okay card. It seems like an okay card. Then we have Sarah. Order, boost a unit by 2. Gain 1 charge whenever you play a special card. Special card synergy, it seems like old closed beta Sarah, but instead of weather it's with special cards. Seems okay. But easily removed, again, only 3 power, so you would need to boost her. Johnny, order, damage a unit by 2, gain 1 charge whenever you play a special card. So Johnny is a bit better because damaging is a bit better than buffing, I guess. So that's good. Counter to Sarah, I guess. The same card, just with damaging. Summon Eskel and Vesemir from your deck for 6 provision cost. Witchers are good for a finisher and for a strong play. Nothing to say about them, they're just great. Maybe a bit too powerful. They maybe need to get +1 provision or something. They seem to be a bit too powerful for this standard. Then we have Doppler Deploy. Choose a unit in your hand, then boosts out by the amount of other units in your hand that share its primary category. Okay. Witchers, I don't know. If you play it with Witchers, the card is bad. I don't know, Doppler doesn't seem that great. Maybe with old spear tip and with both old spear tips, you choose one, get another buff. Outside of that, I don't see this card being played. Thunderbolt, boost a unit by 2, charge 3. This is a great card for Northern Realms buff deck. Then we have Araka's Venom. Damage a unit by 3. If it was destroyed, damage its adjacent units by 3. 9 potential value. But it can remove an engine, which seems to be okay. Usually this card will get like 6 value, maybe. If you're lucky. It's an okay card, but not worth replacing any other removal card that you already have. Azul's is way better in that case. Then we have Lacerate, damage all units on a row by 2. You would need to hit like maybe 4 units for this card to be good. For 7 provision cost, maybe 3 for this card to be okay. Not that great of a card, but it's okay. Gascon, deploy melee, boost self by an amount between 0 and 11 power. I still don't know if this card chooses random, because if this is random choice, then that's just an unreliable card. But it seems like an okay if you can get 11 power out of it. But if it's not random, then it's a bit broken, so I guess it's random, but I'm not sure. Because 11 power for 7 provision is just too much. Then we have Xavier. Deploy Mehleb, banish all cards in enemy graveyard. Ranged, banish all cards in your graveyard. So this card could be used with maybe Sirinova. So you can keep only her in graveyard. Sirinova can be great with Consume and this guy combined. So you first play her on the board, play this guy, then you can consume Sirinova and keep consuming her so she gets summoned again. Seems okay. The next time an enemy is boosted, destroy it along with this card. You have to show it to your opponent though, so it can be easily played around. That's actually not that great. For 7 provision cost, this card just seems bad. Okay, then we have Summoning Circle. Every turn on turn start, gain 1 charge. Order, play a unit from your deck whose recruit cost is less than or equal to this unit's charges. Then remove all charges from this unit. Have to gain like maybe 4 counters on this card for this card to be decent. I don't know. It's an okay-ish card in a long round. It's not that great. Then we have Elf and Onion Soup. Interesting, we have soup for a card. Destroy 2 allied units with the same color, then create and play a unit of that color. Seems to be good with Death Wish, but it's an RNG card, not that great. Outside of Death Wish just seems bad. Even in Death Wish it doesn't seem that great. Then we have Artifact Compression, reset the unit's power and lock it. It's an okay card. Lock seems to be worth 2 and resetting seems to be worth 5. So it's a fine card. It's not that great though. Play a bronze unit from your graveyard and give it Doomed. If you need to replay 1 card, then this card is good. but other way it's not that great. Choose a unit. If it's boosted, damage it by 2 times the amount boosted. If it's damaged, boost it by 2 times the amount damaged. Good boost synergy. Good damage synergy. It's a good card with synergies, I guess. I don't know the potential of this card. It seems to be really good in Skellige damaging deck, and it may be in Northern Realms boost deck. You can use it. With Swallow Potions, this seems to be okay. Destroy all artifacts. Not that great. We have a lot of artifact destruction, so it's not that great anymore. Shuffle an ally into your deck, then play the top unit from your deck. It's okay, but it's worse than Old Decoy, and it has 7 provisions. Depends on what your top card is and what you're replaying. It's an okay card, I guess. Boost all allies by 1. Boost... Actually, that sounds just terrible. This is way worse than damage all enemies by 1. And it has 8 provision cost. This seems just bad. I don't see the reason to play this card. For 4 turns, on turn start, damage 2 random enemies on the row by 1. So it's like 4 times 2 is 8, 8 value for 8 provision cost. It seems okay. Not worth removing this card, so the Clear Skies seems to be not that great. You only gain +2 value. Or maybe +4 with Clear Skies. If it works, if it doesn't, you just lose 1 card. It's not worth it. Playing Clear Skies, I mean, Rain is okay. Give or remove resilience from a unit. With the new card advantage system, this card seems to be really great for a throwaway and keeping a strong unit. For example, it could be great with Old Spear Tip. For 4 turns, on turn start, damage the unit with highest, so it's the same as Rain, a bit better Rain though. Rain has more synergy with Skellige. Other 2 are just better overall, Frost and Fog. Fog gains the most value. Frost is okay if you want to kill a unit quickly. Rain is good when you have damage synergy. Then we have Dudu. Transform into a base copy of an enemy unit. That seems bad for 8 provision cost, because the strength of a card is not that great. And also base copy, it's bad. It's not great. Dudu became from bad to worse, I guess. Dudu has gone from bad to worse, I think. Then we have Regis. Deploy damage all enemies on a row by 1. If any were destroyed, repeat this ability. Good for row damaging. It's okay card. Feel like if you gain value out of him, seems to be really good. There are not a lot of high strength units, so this card can gain some decent value. Then we have Ayak of Denisl. I can't speak. Deploy if you have a dragon in your hand, gain Zeal. Good synergy with Bork, I guess, if he's stealing Gwent. Order destroy a unit with at least 10 power. He seems to have a Bork flying him. So he's like a Garrote plus 1 point and less provision cost, I guess. He seems to be really great if you're playing Dragon deck. But outside of Dragon deck, he seems bad. Then we have Cleaver. For every card in your hand, damage a unit by 1, reach 2. So you would need to play him when you have 5 cards in hand for this card to be decent. Actually, this card seems really good. Because 5 removal can remove most of the engines. You can play it for even more value than 5. Seems pretty good. Gimpy Gervin. Deploy melee damage an enemy and all its copies by 3. If the opponent plays maybe 2 copies most of the times, not a lot of people will play Swarm unless it's really strong. Reach 2. Not that great of a card. Seems like Cleaver is way better choice. And Cleaver can remove some engines while this guy can remove some of them but not most of them. Every turn on turn end, boost the unit with the lowest power in your hand by 1. You would need to boost him because he has only 4 power, 4 removal is easily. Yeah, nothing to say about King of Beggars, probably never use him. Unless you have some boost synergy. Deploy, destroy a resilient enemy. Not a lot of people will play resilience. It's just not worth it. For 8 provision. No, that card just seems bad. Because resilience is not that common, I feel like. Maybe it will become. Because of the new card advantage thing not being a thing anymore. Deploy, move all units from one row to another on their side. Movement synergy, reach 2, so that's good. Old Nivellen with movement. Cyprian Valley. Deploy, banish a unit with 3 power or less. Has some synergy there. Seems pretty good actually. Banish a unit, not hit a unit, so Skellige is not a synergy anymore. He seems not worth it. You'd rather take Cleaver in my opinion. Cleaver is way better than any damaging card, I feel like. Cleaver is really good. I don't know. Then we have... At least he banishes, but there's not a lot of cards worth banishing with 3 value. You would want to banish something like Morkvark, but he's like 5 value. Or Phoenix, but again, he's 5 value. Deploy, lock a unit. Lock seems to be good and seems to be worth 2 provisions, so this is an okay card. Give an allied unit immune. He can survive easily because he 6 volume, so that's not that of a problem. Immune. Well, if you need to keep a card on the field, then Avalach is actually pretty good, for example, combined with Ciri. Although card advantage is not a thing anymore. Unless you play really deep into the second round, then you can gain card advantage. So Ciri might be decent if you give her immune. If you don't, she's just bad. Then we have Count Caldwell. Every turn on turn end, move to the row with the highest unit on the battlefield. Movement synergy, I guess? But he has 10 strength for 8 provision cost. He seems really good. By just dropping high value body on the board. I don't know. I don't see the drawback of this guy. Actually, yeah, now I see it. It's move to any unit, so it can go to the opponent side too. So it's only good in like monster decks that play a lot of high value units, high strength units. Outside of monster decks, he's bad. Then we have Tainted Ale. Order, damage a unit by 2, charge 3. Okay. So this card has 6 removal for 8 provision cost, which is not that great, but 6 removal is good. So it's a decent card, I guess. After 3 turns, on turn start, explode and damage all units on this row by 3. Okay. Better Lacerate, I guess. But can be cleared. I don't know what to say about this card. It's not that great. It's like an old Dragon's Dream, but even harder to get value out. I don't know. Destroy the unit with the highest base power. Good if you play only low powered units, but you probably won't get the... I guess you can destroy some engines, but it costs 8 provisions, so that's not that great. Okay, choose one, damage all enemies with even power by 2, or damage all enemies with odd power by 2. Okay. So it's like an old Sea Hill. I feel like that card is just averagey. This worm effect seems to be a bit... I don't know. Seems to be a bit disgusting. Then we have reset a unit. Yeah. For 8 provision cost, just resetting a unit, not that great. Didn't we saw in Skellige reset a unit? No. Didn't we have reset a unit's power? What's the difference? I don't understand. Any added... Oh, it removes added effects. I didn't read that one. Yeah, I don't know about that one. I feel like that's a lock, I guess. Artifact compression seems better, actually. Boost all units on a row by 2 for 9 provision cost. Unless you're swarming the board. It's just bad card. If you're swarming, then it's actually a really good card. You can gain like 18 value out of it. Yeah. Actually, this card is great in Swarm, but outside of Swarm it's bad. Then we have Yennefer the Divination. Range to reveal a random unit from your deck, then boost an ally by its power. Boost an ally by its power, it's pretty weak. But reveal a random unit from your deck, some reveal synergy there, so it's good in reveal. Outside of reveal it's bad. Trysts, range to reveal a random unit from your deck and damage an enemy by its power. The same thing as the Yennefer. A bit better Yennefer outside. Damaging is a bit more worth than boosting, but outside of that, not that great. Outside of reveal, in reveal it seems okay. Deploy, damage an enemy by 4 for 9. I don't know. For a removal seems to be really good where it's at. Like an old Azul's Thunder did 9 removal. For removal it's like 9 removal in old Gwent. So this seems to be really good, but there are a lot more engines here. So 4 removal seems to be really good. But I don't know. This card seems to be okay. We have deploy, damage a unit by 4. Double it if unicorn is in your side. What's the point of having this card if you can have this card? Really? And it has reach too? Come on. Makes no sense to play in ranged Ifrit. Gyronex is way better and it has synergy with... Well, he requires you to play Unicorn, but again, he doesn't really because it's the same value with this guy. And he hits a unit and not an enemy, so that's actually better. Because you can remove something like Road Tosser, a cow, I don't know. That seems just way better Ifrit. Gyronex and Unicorn seems to be okay. This combo seems to work great for its provision cost. Then we have Ivo of Belhaven. We have Order, melee damage an enemy by 2. Gain 1 charge whenever you play a Witcher. So Witcher synergy here. He has 5 values, so he can't be removed that easily. Azus does it though. It's an okay card. I'd say it's an okay card. With Witchers, he's good. Then we have Stagobor. Order ranged both players draw a card and set its power to 1. It's like an old Stagobor, but in this new Gwent, that doesn't seem like a good strategy at all. I don't know, this card just doesn't seem great. Unless Meal is still a thing, which I think it's not. Then we have Frenzied Doll. Deploy split 3 damage randomly between all enemies. Okay. For 9 provision cost, it's only okay in Skellige, damaging deck, but outside of that, it's bad. At least it has some synergy. We have melee, destroy an enemy artifact. Okay. Ranged, clear all the raw effects from your side. Now that's way better than using Clear Skies, but it's still a question mark. Destroy an enemy artifact is fine if you manage to pull it off. It's an average card in that case. Clear all raw effects. I think Iris is just not worth it. But you have a choice at least, so that makes her a little bit better. Okay, so we have Okvist. Damage all enemies by 1. Only good in Skellige again. Then we have Siri Dash. Draw a card after 4 turns. If you give her immune status, then she can be really good in second round if you want to push your opponent. Probably want to play her with Eredin and with Avalach and with the normal Siri. So that's a good card advantage combo thing possible to gain, I guess. Then we have Aras Companions. Deploy, draw a card of your choice from your deck, then discard a random card. This is just a bad card because he should discard first and draw a card and not the other way around. This card is just bad because it can discard the card that you get. Then we have Aguara. Deploy melee lock a unit. Okay, lock is okay. Ranged, remove a unit's lock. She's locker and unlocker. She seems to be actually better than the locker. You sacrifice 1 more provision cost for what lock is worth, and you gain an unlock. So that seems to be actually pretty good card. Then we have Olgierd. Order, heal this unit, cooldown 1. This seems to be only good in Skellige self-damaging. Outside of that, he seems bad. Damage a unit by 8. For 9 provision cost, you're gonna probably lose a lot of value if you want to remove engine. If you don't, then this card is not great if you don't remove an engine, so this card is probably not worth it. Boost a unit to 12 power. If it's not a Witcher, damage it by 6 first. With a Witcher, this card is averagey. The Witchers are 4 power, I guess. Not that great. It's only good in Witcher deck, and even in Witcher deck this card is not great. I don't know. Marching Orders. Play the unit with the lowest power from your deck. Good if you want to get access to the lowest powered unit. Look at the top 2 cards from your deck, then play one and banish the other. Last Wish seems to be okay. Like the old Last Wish. But it banishes the other, so that's a drawback. For 9 provision cost, it seems to be an okay card. If you want to get more consistent with your deck. Regis, deploy, melee, drain all boosts from an enemy. This seems to have some synergy with Nilfgaard, I guess. So this card is only good in Nilfgaard, outside of Nilfgaard. Okay, I guess. Then we have Vadamkar, deploy, melee, increase the duration of all raw effects by 1. Not that great. Not that great. And he decreases, I guess. Only 2 power for 10 provision cost, this just doesn't seem right. You do have a choice, but probably weather is not that great anymore, so only +1 to the duration. At least give it +2. I don't know. Seems bad. Destroy an enemy with at least 10 power. Seems like an okay card. If it gets value, then this card is amazing. If it doesn't get value, then this card is bad. So it's not consistent. Igni is probably way better. Deploy melee, destroy the highest units on an enemy row with a total power of at least 15. Yeah, Igni seems to be way better than Garrote. Like, come on. For the same provision cost, like... Igni is better. Then we have Garrote Professional. Melee, damage an enemy unit by 3. If its power was multiple of 3, destroy it instead. So if you get 9 destruction, he's great. If you get 6 destruction, he's okay. If he gets only 3, then he's bad for his provision cost. So he needs to get 6 or more. Which doesn't sound that bad, actually. It actually seems better than Garrote. I don't know. This actually seems better, because if it doesn't work out, at least you have 2 more value. Okay, so we have Jermaine, good synergy with beasts, good synergy with swarming, so he's actually a pretty good card, and he's 8 power up by himself, so he's just a great card in those decks. Deploy, boost all allied Witchers on the battlefield in hand or in deck by 1. Great unit with Witchers, outside of that he's bad. You can make a Witcher archetype deck, it seems. Especially in Nilfgaard, it seems. It seems pretty great, actually. Damage all units on the opposite row by 1, okay. Damage all units on the opposite row by 1 seems okay. But you would need to hit 6 units, so 2 times 3, you're probably not gonna get more value than that. For this card to be averagey, not that great. This card seems bad, actually. Roche, he's just a bonus card, seems to be good. 4 bonus value for 10 provision cost, seems to be great. Especially now that you have that many gold cards, he seems to be pretty great card. Order, damage an enemy by 2, okay. Charge 2. Okay. This seems pretty weak, actually. 8 damage for 10 provision, while we have Ihwara Quacks and other cards for less provision and with another synergy and without order. That doesn't sound that great. Destroy an enemy beast to reach 2. It's only good against beasts. On turn start, if this unit is the only one in your graveyard, summon it, yes. So you basically have to have empty graveyard and play a consume deck, where you consume only this card. I guess it could work. On round start, if Phoenix is in your graveyard, banish it and spawn Phoenix Hatchling. I saw that card working really great because he's 5 value every turn. He's like 15 points actually. Or at least 10 points if you play him on the first round. If you don't count second one. He's just one of the better cards of neutrals. He's like... he's almost the same in greatness as Morkvark, I guess. Morkvark is a bit better because he gains you a card advantage. But it's actually really hard to get card advantage now. So Phoenix is like a second Morkvark. Deploy, spawn a copy of a bronze unit from your hand on the same row on both players' sides. Good if you copy an engine. Bad for everything else. Engines can be easily removed, so that's a problem with that. You need to have at least one artifact that can buff the engine. Outside of engines, that card is really bad. Only with order is good. Then we have Yennefer, Conjurer. Order damage the highest enemy units by 1. Cooldown 1. I don't know. This card actually seems to be good. Great with Skellige. And 5 value, so it's a bit harder to remove. Then we have Ihwara Quacks. Melee summon the unit with the highest recruit cost from both players' decks on their melee row. So if you want to get access to the highest recruit cost card, then you play it on melee. Ranged summon the unit with the lowest recruit cost on both players' deck on ranged route. You have to keep in mind that the Ihwara Quacks doesn't work with Deploy. So Deploy doesn't work when you play another unit. So if you pull a unit from your opponent's deck with Deploy, it's useless to him. And if you have any good engine from your deck, then it's really great for you. So Ihwara Quack seems to be pretty good. Sigil, order damage an enemy by 1. If it was destroyed, permanently increase damage by 1, cooldown 1. If this card is not destroyed, it's amazing. If it's destroyed, it's not that great. But if Sigil is not destroyed, it's just a bit broken, I think. In a long round especially. Because 1 strength, it's easy to get the unit, opponent's unit to 1 strength, that's the problem. Zeal, El of Ancestors, order boost a unit by 3, cooldown 2. Great boosting synergy, and if this card is not removed, it can get insane in a long round. Play a unit from enemy graveyard. It's an old caretaker for 10 provision cost. Doesn't seem that great because it's from the enemy graveyard. Then we have Scorch. Destroy the units with the highest power. Scorch being Scorch. But in this PTR, units are less... They have less value and they're more of on an engine sort of thing. This Scorch seems a bit weaker, but it's still good. Then you have... But I think Garrote is actually better in this part. Play the unit with the highest power from your deck. Great if you want to get access to the highest powered unit. This is a nice card, even if it costs 10 provisions. Damage 5 enemies by 2. This seems more of an average card. It's good with Skellige decks. Then we have Trysts Telekinesis, ranged, create and play a bronze special card from either player's starting deck. So this is good if you want to reuse one of your special cards. Outside of that, this card is bad. For 11 provision cost, it sounds a bit underwhelming. Then we have Yennefer. Melee damage all other units by 2, ranged boost all other units by 2. Again, outside of Skellige, a pretty bad card. In Skellige it's also not that great. Swarming, only in Swarm. Only in Swarm. It's good only in Swarm deck. That really swarms a lot. But outside the Swarm it's bad. Then we have Ango, I can't pronounce that name. Order, play a random artifact from your opponent's deck. This is just bad card because it's RNG. Reset all units on a row. Reset doesn't seem that great, but he seems okay if he gets value. Then we have melee, every turn on turn end, boost this unit by 1. Eskel actually seems really good. Eskel seems like, outside of Garrote, he seems like the best Witcher, I guess. Outside of Garrote Igni, I mean. We have Dao, no ability. 9 value for 11 provision, this is just underwhelming. Then we have Garrison. Boost the unit by 10 for 11 provision. A good, an okay card. Boost by 10 doesn't seem that great though. Because if the opponent plays Igni, you just lose a card. Create and play a gold unit. RNG again, nothing to say about this card. Then we have Aguara True Form. Deploy ranged, create any special card. Okay. RNG again, terrible. Nothing to say about this. RNG deck seems to be again possible to make. I'll probably try it. We have Zoltan, melee spawn and play Agitator, damage all units on a row by 2 or boost all units on a row by 2. Good with Swarm decks, also okay if the opponent is swarming the board. Outside of that, he's bad. In this new Gwent, there seems to be a lot of synergy. Which is actually a good thing now that I think about it. But drawing 3 cards, that's what I think it's bad in Gwent. Deploy, ranged, play an artifact from your graveyard. So he can replay artifact, he can replay Sea Hill. So that's good. Outside of Sea Hill, maybe not that great. Sea Hill and Ale seems to be the best option for him. For 12 provision cost, he seems to be okay. Then we have Garrote Art. Deploy melee damage 3 enemies by 2 and move them 1 row up. Moving synergy there, 12 provision cost for 3 times 2 for 9. It's a bit underwhelming, but a movement synergy, so if you need movement, then this is the guy you play. Then we have Synthesis Blaze, order damage an enemy by 1, 5 charges. This is actually just bad, because you have to wait 1 turn as opposed to Aquist or any other card, which is a bit better. And for less provision cost, I don't know. It can remove engines if it works, but you can also remove it, I guess. Then we have Gaunter, give an enemy unit doom, destroy an enemy unit. Gaunter is actually pretty good, but he's like a worst Garrote Igni. You can choose which unit to remove though. You have to wait one turn, so that's his weakness. Without order, he's great, but with order he's a bit of underwhelming. I don't know. Deploy, boost a random unit in your hand by 4. So if you need to keep an engine alive, she's great. She's actually pretty good. But she costs 12 provision, so that's a bit, I don't know. But if you count that you can keep an engine alive, she's actually pretty good. Then we have Villain Trentham. After 2 turns, destroy a different unit with the highest power on the battlefield. He's only 5 power. He's easily removed. And you have to wait 2 turns. He's just bad. You need to buff him. Vigo's Muzzle. Deploy, seize an enemy with 5 or less power and lock it. That seems okay. That seems okay. If you need to remove an engine, this card is pretty good. Maybe it's like 10 value at most. And locking. So it's average actually. And the opponent has to have 5 strength unit. It's actually a worse lock. I don't understand why would you use this. It's a worse lock. I don't know. Maybe I'm missing something. Play a unit from your deck. Royal Decree is amazing from what I've played it. It can play any unit. It's a deck thinning. You can play it whenever you want. Royal Decree is just amazing. Then we have Manticore's Venom, damage 3 enemies by 3. A bit underwhelming, I think. It's not that great. Then we have Skellige Storm. For 2 turns, on turn start, damage all units on a row by 1. A bit weak, I'd say. Not a lot of people are swarming the board. It's a bit weak, Weather. Weather is not that great anymore. Every turn on turn start, damage the highest unit on a row by 2. Every turn. You need to have it at least 5 turns. Or 6 maybe. In a long third round, that's actually a great card. If the opponent can't remove Weather. But if he can, that's just terrible. And if it's a short round 3, that's also terrible. Then we have Avalanche Sage. Ranged, play an artifact from your deck. Artifact Tutor. It's an okay card. It's a good tutor card, I guess. Then we have Shub. He's supposed to have the same ability as before, but Shub mages, hunter and knights are a bit changed. And from what I saw, mage is terrible. I don't know about hunter or knight, but mage is just terrible. Play unit from your graveyard. It's amazing card if you want to replay any unit. Renew seems to be buffed. It's a bit worse in my opinion than Royal Decree. It costs more and you don't have access to any card from your deck. But if you want to resurrect any card, then Renew is amazing. Then we have Dandelion Poet. Deploy, draw a card and play a card. He's just 4 power plus another card, which is the same as Roche pretty much. He's a good card. Roche seems to be a bit better actually. Destroy a unit or an artifact. it can destroy a unit, but it would need to destroy like unit with 12 value at least, which is not that easy to get. You can remove an engine. You have a lot of cards to remove engine already. Destroy an artifact, that's just a bit overwhelming. Also destroy a unit. This card is just a bit underwhelming. Then we have Commander's Horn. Boost 5 adjacent units by 3. So it's 15 value for 14. Commander's Horn with Swarm boosted X is actually a really good card. So Commander's Horn is amazing actually. So that's it for neutrals. So if you like the video, like it, consider subscribing, and I'll see you guys with more decks.